Can you eat processed food and still lose weight? This article was sent to me by a friend of mine after my video that I did about the nutritionist being paid to sponsor Kellogg's or whoever it was cereals. And it says the 10 best processed foods you should be eating for weight loss according to nutrition experts. So basically in this article, they're going through some different processed foods that can be healthy, that are high in certain nutrients, and that are going to help aid in weight loss. And I like the stance they take. We, as a culture, we have looked at processed, quote unquote, processed foods as always being very unhealthy. And when you think about it, like any food that's been changed in any way is technically a processed food. So like ground turkey, ground beef are processed foods. They mention here that salads are processed foods, like those pre-packed salads that you can get at Costco or whatever. So yeah, I think the big difference here is understanding processed foods versus ultra-processed foods. They mention how ultra-processed foods typically have more than 5 ingredients, and that also there are some ultra-processed foods that aren't technically unhealthy, but a lot of times what we see is that these ultra-processed foods have things like hydrolyzed protein, modified starches, hydrogenated oils, all these different things that can be carcinogenic and unhealthy. So with that being in the forefront, let's go through the list. So number 1 is canned beans. I agree, canned beans are super healthy, high in protein, high in fiber. Have you ever made dry beans? It's not fun or enjoyable. So that's definitely a good one, canned beans. Fortified whole grain cereal. It depends. Ezekiel brand, if you've ever heard of that one, they're a pretty solid brand. Again, it really depends on the sugar content, on the protein content, the fiber content. Generally, I'm not a huge cereal fan, just for me to eat and or for clients. But that being said, there are certain types of cereal that are better than others. Frozen fruit is fantastic. We always get the frozen mango at Costco. That is a staple in our household, especially for the kids. And if you're making smoothies, whatever it may be, yeah, it's going to be high in fiber. It's fruit, so it's going to have water content as well. I'm a huge fan of frozen fruit being a healthy processed food. Greek yogurt is another one that can be very healthy. I will say a lot of times people opt for like the fat-free, which means it's going to have more sugar to make it taste good. I tell clients opt for full-fat Greek yogurt, not to mention you're also going to get probiotics. So I would definitely put Greek yogurt in the health category. Love this addition. High fiber crackers are key. I'm actually just going to share with you my favorite brand. So if you've never heard of Mary's Gone crackers, I didn't get a screenshot of the nutrition facts, but they're high in fiber, high in protein, pretty much all organic. They have, like flax seeds, and they have all different kinds. So huge fan of Mary's Gone, and I think if you can get high fiber crackers, again, if you're substituting it for no fiber crackers, like I can't think of a brand like those Ritz crackers or whatever, it's going to be a great substitute for you. Hummus is fantastic. Love hummus. Technically, yes, a processed food. I have a pretty solid hummus recipe as well. It's in my inspired blueprint. If you're interested, let me know. I can send it to you. But hummus, definitely a healthy processed food. Soy milk, I don't know. I'm not super into soy milk or even like most plant-based milks. The problem being that a lot of them have added gums and carrageenan, which are just really tough on metabolism. They're not necessarily healthy for us. So this one's like iffy. I think if it's that or like skim milk from a cow, I'd probably take soy milk, but either way, for the most part, I just avoid those types of milk. So not one that I endorse. Got a 2 for here. So tofu has been very much demonized by a lot of nutrition experts. There is this idea that it's high in estrogen and it will, cause guys to grow man boobs and lower testosterone and stuff. There isn't actually evidence to support that. So I personally would say like whole tofu rather than like tofu nuggets is probably a decent option. I don't eat a lot of tofu anymore. I used to eat a lot of it, but it is high in protein and it does have a little bit of fiber. So overall it can work. And then peanuts are great. Most nuts are actually processed. Like, when you get a bag of cashews, you don't have to peel every cashew out of the container, like seed shell that they usually come in. So tofu is like mid decent. Peanuts are definitely good as long as, you don't have reactions to peanuts or lectins or whatever it may be. And then we rounded out with a real doozy, veggie burgers. Again, I go back and forth. Like personally, I would just eat a regular burger, And if you're vegan or vegetarian for any reason, as long as you're watching the oil content, the types of oils, if there's a bunch of seed oils and vegetable oils in it, you're probably going to want to avoid it. If it's high in protein and fiber, there's not a bunch of added stuff. They can be relatively healthy. Again, I think that eating, a regular burger is probably honestly healthier, but it is an option. Then at the end of this article, they do offer some good tips for choosing different processed foods. Colorful plate, which we know is key, getting all those phytochemicals and different antioxidants and whatnot is important. Comparing nutrition labels, right? So reading what's actually in the food, the ingredients is super key. And then, as I always say, protein and fiber are key. We always want to make sure we're getting our protein and fiber in every single day. So if you're finding processed foods that don't have a bunch of additives that have protein and fiber, they're good to go. And then taste, we obviously have to like food. So overall, pretty solid article. I appreciate the individual who sent this to me. And I'm curious, what are the processed foods that you eat that you would consider healthy? Let me know in the comments.